The U.S. is 10 days into strikes in Iran. Oil prices have spiked up to more than $100 a barrel. And Iran just named the son of the killed Ayatollah Khomeini as their new supreme leader. This weekend, the administration was pressed on what the plan of attack exactly is, and if they've considered sending in ground troops. Take a look.
Could there be? Possibly, for very good reason. Have to be very good reason. And I would say if we ever did that, they would be so decimated that they wouldn't be able to fight at the ground level.
President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table.
People ask boots on the ground, no boots on the ground, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, go in, go in. President Trump knows, I know, you don't tell the enemy, you don't tell the press, you don't tell anybody what your limits would be on an operation. We're willing to go as far as we need to in order to be successful.
So does it sound like there's an exit strategy here, or is this going to be, is it going to be boots on the ground and we are then now in another war? And I will say this, it really bugged me, and maybe I'm just being picky. When those caskets came off that plane, take your damn hat off.
That's right. That's right.
Take your damn hat off.
That's right.
I didn't understand why nobody pulled his coattail and said, "Sir, you just out of respect."
That's
Out of
right.
respect. I mean, President Obama actually was the first president to preside over that dignified transfer. And he stood there for 45 minutes, salute, without a hat on and with the suit on. And it was a very somber moment. It wasn't about him. It was about the loss of our soldiers who gave their life for this country. And what I saw when I saw that dignified transfer it was all about Trump. And I thought that was despicable. But I will say this, I maintain that this is an illegal war. It is very clear that the president and his administration has not made the case for an imminent threat. And I want people to understand that imminent threat is a legal standard. It is a key legal standard. It's from 1837 from a case, the Caroline case. And the only way you start a war is if you know that an attack is about to happen. It's anticipatory self-defense. And so the definition is instant, overwhelming, leaving no choice of means and no moment for deliberation. In response to the imminent threat question on 60 Minutes, Pete Hegseth said, well, they've been after us for 47 years. 47 years is not imminent threat, and that's why this is illegal. And those soldiers, while they gave their life for this country, they should be alive today.
And you know, I try not to watch Pete Hegseth when he's speaking because I find him so deeply unserious and unqualified and lacking a moral compass. But yesterday, I had to watch it for this show. And it really, there's so many pieces of that interview that bothered me. One was when he gets asked if American troops are going to be in more danger. And he says no, while we are seeing that there's, to this point, 7 American service members who have been killed.
From the same attack, by the way, from that day one.
He got, he got asked about the Iranian schoolgirls, the missile strike that could possibly, be American, that hit that Iranian schoolgirl. And look, schoolgirls, he said that they are still investigating. We are 10 days post facto on that event. I have to believe that if they had evidence that it was Iran, because Donald Trump said Iran had shot its own people. And let's make no mistake, the Iranian Ayatollahs and that regime are horrible, and they have killed tens and tens of thousands of Iranians. So are they capable of killing their own people?
Absolutely.
Yes, they've done it. They continue to do it. But if the U.S. has evidence that it was Iran that killed those schoolgirls, then show us that evidence so that the question is off the table. And if it has evidence that it was a mistaken attack by the United States, then for the love of God, let us acknowledge it and apologize. Because the Iranians may be okay with killing innocent civilians, but the U.S. should never be. That is what distinguishes us from them.
That's right. And see, here's my problem with it. If it was such a problem, then why didn't the president run on that? Why didn't he clearly say that's what he wanted to do? If you're talking about regime change or you're talking about no more forever wars, but now we're in something that you're not telling us why. And I put on a uniform to serve this country, and I always wanted to know, why am I doing this? It's me in the Air Force Reserve. Why are we doing it? And I do believe when they say you should not follow an unlawful order. Why is this not impeachable? And where are the politicians to say this dude don't have it all the way together? He cannot be the commander-in-chief.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you, because I'm following the commander-in-chief, and to those families of those 7, we should care more about them than someone's personal interest if you are going to wage war. Because at first it wasn't a war, but now it's the Department of War. Now you are waging war, and you are putting American lives and soldiers at risk.
Correct.
Do we have time for you to get in? I would say there's a fatigue factor in this country post-Iraq and Afghanistan, because we saw that what maybe started as we had different information, and then we went in, and then we couldn't get out. My fear here is that I agree, the regime there is evil, and they have really, they just kill the people that disagree with them. I actually felt that there were probably people in these rooms, and I would be curious what you think, Cheryl, as someone who served in the military. I don't think you run on a war like this if you aren't in the rooms where people are giving you the intel that you might have now.
Right.
And so I would say the fact that 74 retired generals did say this was the right move, and those are career military, not career politicians. And so I tend to concede some amount of trust in that. I know you don't. But I think the part where they really lose me is when I think it was Levitt said that they might do a draft. Now, I think she needs to research the country. She floated the idea.
I told y'all.
Well, that's different to me.
And I have been talking about this for a long time.
Well, because I do understand that every American can want to know, are there boots on the ground? I actually understand the answer to that. You have to wait and see. You cannot answer those questions and rule things out before you know how it's going. I also don't want our military leaders telling us everything they're doing. We're the country that we have this beautiful right to question it, to push back, to ask, but I don't want things being passed out on our media that our enemies are watching.
You know what I want? I want people who I can trust. If you're asking me to send my grandson in, I want to believe what you're saying. I want you to tell me. I don't need to know when you're hitting, when you're striking. I just need to know that this is collectively. The country says, yes, we should be doing this. And the problem is we have been lied to so often. You say you do this, and then you come to find out 5 months later, that's not at all what was going on. So I'm concerned because, you know, I've felt for a long time that we were going to be coming towards this. And this is an issue.